and try to...
Catherine Swift with me on the Roy Green Show on the Corliss Radio Network, the chair of the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. CFIB.ca is the website. You know, we're talking about the issues of the student protesters in Quebec exporting their concerns and trying to recruit other students, this time in Ontario, and the issue of tips and the Canada Revenue Agency going after waitstaff in restaurants and saying you didn't declare all your tips as income and now you owe us money. Greg's in Toronto. Greg, you want to talk about the student issue?
Yes, hi. I've been following this for a while now, what's happening in Quebec and when it moved over to Ontario and to BC. If you look carefully, it's not the students who are exporting this. It's people involved in Marxist political organizations. In Montreal, there were genuine students getting involved, but only really about 30 to 35% of the students were working on that. The remainder tried to go to their classes. And then it slowly began to get hijacked by people in Marxist organizations and people in the Black Bloc anarchists who started making things violent and damaging.
Okay, so thank you for the call, Greg. And Catherine, how much do you subscribe? I know you subscribe partially to what Greg said.
Well, I think he's absolutely right. I mean, once again, remember the so-called Occupy, which again I mentioned the 99% and the 1% tedious dishonest description of what really is going on here. These are people that like to protest. They like to kick up a stink. Unions have always liked to kick up a stink, too, just to be disruptive. It's part of their DNA, it seems. And I think the caller is right. Initially, there might have been an element to the student population, but then all the other people that just like to be disruptive of everybody else in society got involved in the far left and the people that were, if you I went to the Occupy thing in Toronto just to scope it out. And, I mean, you had... You had the homeless, you had the far lefties, you had such a mixed bag of people there. And that's what ended up being part of the protests in Montreal, Quebec City, and elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.